Was it exciting? Did you have to make some calls?
There were a lot of calls made for a lot of songs in this movie. Honestly, like this movie, I think that like when you see it, it feels like a big, beautiful summer movie, but like we didn't have any budget. So there were a lot of favors and a lot of begging and
Your niece for Taylor?
I mean, honestly, she was with me on this experience the whole time, all throughout it. So like she really lived this with me. Yeah, she was, she's a person who shows up for you, and I'm so grateful to have that love and that support. But yeah, there were other people too that I had to call and beg, and people that said no. I don't know what that means. So if somebody has a dictionary, I would love to find the definition of that. It's so confusing to me. No, we just begged to get a lot of the songs in the movie, songs that we couldn't afford, but people.
She didn't just leak the footage, she stole the entire iCloud. That's the accusation now, not from tabloid speculation, but from court-documented forensic evidence. Blake Lively, America's Golden Girl, isn't just accused of a diva meltdown on set. She's now being named in a campaign that allegedly included hacking, smear tactics, and silencing insiders. And the wildest part? This entire storm was never about justice. It was about winning a final cut. This was supposed to be the dream project. A best-selling book, a beloved actress, a director with a message. It Ends With Us wasn't just a movie. It was Blake Lively's power move, first starring, then producing, and quietly preparing for a directorial debut. But when Justin Baldoni's final cut outscored hers in testing, 94 versus 82, the dream cracked. And what happened next? Turned the studio cold. Instead of stepping back, Blake allegedly stepped in harder. Behind closed doors, emails started flying. Meetings got tense. Security got called. And then the leaks. Private texts, strategy memos, screenshots pulled from forensic software. Not just from Blake's phone, but from other people's iClouds. Multiple formats, multiple sources. One extracted with Celebrite, the same tool used in federal investigations. Another was a direct screenshot with timestamps that didn't align. Two methods. One question, how did Blake get messages from phones she didn't have access to? The narrative being pushed? That Justin was retaliating, that the studio was sexist, that Blake was being sidelined. But now, the documents say otherwise. They show Blake and Ryan, yes, Ryan Reynolds, allegedly maneuvering to secure not just the cut, but the marketing rights. Why? Because whoever controls the marketing gets the final say on how the film and its stars are remembered. So when Justin started documenting everything, it wasn't paranoia, it was self-defense. And when texts between him and team members like Jen Abel suddenly ended up in Lively's legal filings, attorneys began asking questions no one at Sony wants answered. Was this data hacked or handed over? Because one bad test screening might cost a film, but a digital trail of stolen messages, that could end careers. It's not just messy anymore. It's criminal-level chaotic. Because when Rachel's legal team alleged Blake Lively accessed iCloud screenshots, that wasn't a theory. It was time-stamped proof. Screenshots labeled, today, 12:06 p.m., on messages sent days earlier. How? Because Jen Abel, one of the assistant producers, still had her phone on August 5th. And yet somehow Blake's team had screenshots of texts Jen sent that day, with today at the top. That's not a saved photo. That's a live capture. Someone inside Jen's iCloud, pulling images as they synced. And it gets worse. Blake's filing included exhibits pulled not from the phone, but from cloud-based backups, Apple servers, protected under federal law. Suddenly, this isn't about drama or defamation. It's about unauthorized access, invasion of privacy, and possibly a felony. Attorneys for Jen Abel allege that Blake and her publicist, Stephanie Jones, accessed more than just messages. They accessed photo folders, internal documents, and even shared screenshots in court, pulled from another person's iCloud. And when challenged, their defense boiled down to, we owned the work phone, but federal law says otherwise. Owning the hardware doesn't mean owning the private data inside it. And if they didn't have a privacy policy in place, no opt-in, no consent, no boundaries, that's a violation, period. So now, what was once a conversation about creative vision has become a question of digital ethics, consent, and control. And Blake is no longer the victim in this narrative. Because if you're using illegally obtained screenshots in a public complaint, you're not just crossing lines, you're erasing them.
By now, the receipts aren't just screenshots. their evidence chains, because when Blake's legal team submitted screenshots of text messages between producers, they left out one critical thing: the original data. There was no Celebrite extraction, no metadata, no digital footprint proving where the screenshot came from. And that's when the dam broke. Analysts noticed the timestamp at the top. It said, today, 12:06 p.m. But the message? It was sent days earlier. The only way that could happen? The message wasn't pulled from a saved archive. It was pulled live from someone else's iCloud, specifically Jen Abel's. And it didn't stop there. Stephanie Jones, Blake's publicist, claimed she never accessed Jen's data. But somehow, the screenshots Blake shared in her amended legal complaint came directly from Jen's photo album, stored in iCloud, accessed after Jen had left the company, while the device was still syncing in real time. And here's the part that turned the case radioactive. They didn't just capture screenshots from the cloud. They kept Jen's iCloud logged into the phone months after she left, meaning every time Jen received a message, Stephanie received it too. Live, synced, no consent. That's not just unethical, that's wiretap territory. Under federal law, simultaneous receipt of messages from an account you don't own qualifies as interception. And suddenly, the quiet screenshots became a digital trail of illegal surveillance. Stephanie can claim ignorance, Blake can plead detachment. But when the screenshots you submit in court prove you accessed private data, you're not the victim, you're the breach. And now, the court isn't just asking who told the truth, they're asking who broke the law.
Blake Lively tried to win in court.
But the evidence she submitted herself may have just buried her case, because in her attempt to defend her actions, she handed over a smoking gun. Screenshots Blake gave to the New York Times, the LA Times, and multiple press outlets, meant to paint Justin Baldoni as manipulative, included a text thread from August 15th. The problem? Those screenshots were pulled from a phone synced to Jen Abel's iCloud, 2 weeks after Jen was terminated. Under federal law, that's illegal access. But worse, the message exposed Ryan Reynolds, not Justin, as the person who allegedly fed the damaging leaks to the Daily Mail. Ryan literally put out a story that he had to come in to save the script because the script was a disaster. That wasn't a smear against Blake. It was a coordinated media narrative by her own husband to seize creative control from the screenwriter.
The irony?
Blake tried to use that message to accuse others of smearing her, but it exposed the smear was internal. And it gets darker. Stephanie Jones, Blake's publicist, didn't just stay logged into Jen Abel's iCloud after firing her. She allegedly monitored messages in real time, pulled photos from private cloud folders, and sent them directly to Blake. That's not PR, that's surveillance. And in the court filing, the wording is chilling. Having pillaged Abel's personal iCloud and email accounts, Jones Works has undertaken a malicious campaign to villainize and humiliate her. The fallout?
Legal teams are shifting strategy. Federal jurisdiction has been triggered.
And Sony, dead silent until now, is reportedly preparing internal audits. Blake wanted control of the story, but the only story left now
Is the one written in her own data trail. She wanted control.
She wanted legacy. She wanted her version of the story to live forever. But in trying to own the narrative, Blake Lively may have written her own downfall. Because the exhibits she shared weren't redemptive. They were incriminating. Screenshots taken not from her phone, but from Jen Abel's live iCloud. Photos labeled "Today" for messages that were sent days earlier. Evidence pulled illegally, submitted publicly, framed as defense, but now proven to be exposure. And the irony? Her team launched the first blow, accusing Justin Baldoni of being abusive, chauvinistic, unfit to helm the story. But the first leak didn't come from him. It came from Blake, from Ryan, from inside their own house. Ryan Reynolds allegedly fed the Daily Mail a story about having to save the script. Blake's team framed that as heroism. But what it revealed was a power grab, dressed up as a PR move. And now, the defense filings don't read like attacks.
They read like survival.
Justin, Jen, and the team weren't launching a smear campaign. They were defending themselves. Because when your cloud is accessed, your texts leaked, and your name dragged, all by the people you once trusted, what choice do you have but to fight back?
So here's the real question. In a war between fame and truth, which one wins?
Because if even Blake Lively can allegedly cross the line, what's protecting the people who don't have a platform? What happens when the star becomes the story? And when the story is stolen, who gets to tell it?